So let's talk about this week's book that I recently finished reading, The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. It's just shy of 400 pages, and it follows Linus Baker, who is a caseworker for the department in charge of magical youth. The book follows him on a top secret assignment to visit an orphanage isolated on an island in the middle of the sea. And there are quite a few things that I really like about this book. I really like how the environment and the emotion connect. It starts in the city with Linus, and he's not very happy, kind of stuck in a rut, and he's surrounded by like these large buildings, cubicle desks. It's very gray. It's constantly raining, and that really connects strongly to his kind of internal turmoil. And then when he takes a train to this island, there's a beautiful description of kind of that transition out of the gray into the beautiful blue of the sea and the bright sunshine and the fresh air, and that pairs really well with his kind of opening of his mind and relaxing of kind of his tension and his kind of emotional growth, to see the point of view of these magical children, not just as part of his work, but as like part of his life and as people, and kind of that depth of emotion. There are a few things that kind of struggled with this book, especially towards the end, where it feels like we lose some of that emotional complexity with the love interest towards the end of the book, where it sort of starts to move very quickly and in ways that are not very believable. There are events that it seems like could be challenges from other characters without going into too much spoilering detail. And those hurdles don't seem to be very hard. And with our main character, who's supposed to be 40, right? You're very set in your ways by 40. And to see him change over so fast, and to see other characters who have every right to be very closed off because they require being closed off to protect their safety as a magical creature. They open up very readily in a way that doesn't feel very realistic and kind of pulls you out of the story, and it feels as though we're really going through those moments very quickly in order to kind of get to the end of the story. And that disappointed me a little bit. Not enough to not like the book. I still thought it was a very good read. It's very sweet, and I thought that Klune really handles the children well. They definitely talk like children who are a little bit has the adult children kind of problem, where they're a little bit more mature. But I think that's very believable for the settling. Some of them are magical, so they're a little bit older than human children would be, and they've experienced a little bit more adversity that would kind of give them a little bit more maturity than your average child, and that completely makes sense. The other thing that he also handles well is, obviously they're in an orphanage, so there are a lot of children. And I think the author handles really well making those children distinct from one another, giving the children different relationships between each of the children. And there are, for instance, one child is a forest sprite, and one child is like a gnome who loves to garden. And you would think that those two girls would get a lot of crossover, and the author handles really well giving them different personalities, even though they're both young girls who are out in nature. Overall, really good read. Klune has another book, Under the Whispering Door. Do Does anyone think I should check that out? Have you read that? Let me know what you thought about The House in the Cerulean Sea. And if you haven't read it, I definitely recommend you pick it up and check it out.